I'd say take a ride with me.
Take a ride with me. Ride with me, spend some time with me, bend the block.
Because the kids, man, love it so much. I mean, it's kind of like, it's very personal, man, because we have did the Take a Ride webisodes. And it's kind of like an in look at our life, how crazy we are, you know, right there to your living room, you know. And so, like, when we're out there on the road, you know, a lot of people connect to those. It's like, man, those are crazy, man. We love them, man. We just laugh. It's so funny, you know. And
I'd also add to that, like, you know, that's a good point, because one of the things that we're proud of with our music is we've got generations. I mean, we've got fans out there that are grandma, grandpa, father and mother, son and daughter that are all fans of our music. So there's definitely everything for all those people on this album.
Melody and soul clear my mind, and just try to keep it between the lines.
Yeah, Between the Lines was one of those songs, you know, like you know when you recorded something really good, you know, you can just tell, you know, like, and it was just one of those songs that was, once again, we pulled from the reality of our lives. You know, that song's about being out on the road and having that feeling of, you know, of a whole different lifestyle that a lot of people don't ever get to experience, you know, traveling and being in different places all the time and being almost, you know, taken out of your normal everyday life and being in a whole other world. So that's really what that song's about, you know. It's just kind of trying to keep it all together while you're out there, you know.
I knew when we was recording, you know, we got a lot of comments with truck drivers, and there's a lot of them, man. There's more truck drivers, I say there's cars sometimes on the road, you know, and so I knew as soon as we was dropping that, you know, just the lyrical content of that, I knew the truck drivers were really gonna feel that, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I knew as soon as I was getting put on wax there that they had legs to it, so I enjoy, you know, lacing that up.
I'm very proud of that record. You know, it kind of showcases some of what I feel is some of the best, you know, visually or conceptually for explaining where we are from in Kentucky. You know, I mean, it's you know, growing up there, and we've been all over the world, and I mean, Kentucky for me is I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, you know, as far as where I live.
Well, Kentucky, man,
rolling hills, lush landscapes.
It's a mythical place, man, to the rest of the world, you know.
Yeah.
Got it on my gun, got it on my shirt, got it on my four-wheel drive.
I mean, camo, it's a huge thing in, you know, culture anyway, you know, and it has, you know, through my whole family anyway, you know, so. Yeah.
Well, and camouflage too is the song's kind of a euphemism for how people go through life. You know, sometimes, you know, like some people go through their whole life just like you know, kind of behind the scenes, you know, and then some people are all up in your face, you know. So that's kind of the subliminal message to the song Camouflage. You know, if you really listen to it, it's got a lot of subliminal messaging there, you know. Subliminal. Is that how you say it? Some of that Kentucky dialect for you. Subliminal.
They want to tell me where I belong. Never set a foot on a real dirt road. Never walked.
I've got several favorite songs on the album, but I guess as far as conceptual, I would say probably the track Where I Belong is one of my favorites. Mainly because of the message and the story behind the song. You know, we first, you know, signed to Average Joe's, and we first got into the music industry and kind of got a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. We were told by a lot of different people, you know, you got to pick a side, you got to figure out where you want to be as far as genre goes, or you know, you got to do this way, or you got to do that this way. So we wrote the song Where I Belong as kind of an answer back to no, you don't. You know, it's not about picking a side or doing this or that. It's about being yourself and being true to yourself. So that's what that song's about. You know, a lot of the music we make comes from what we've experienced in life, and being true to ourselves is very important to us as artists. So that Where I Belong is probably one of my favorite tracks conceptually like that.
She's a rebel. I love the way she moves. It's got me addicted.
Yeah, with our girl Sarah Ross. Loved making that record, man. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Sarah Ross. We love her to death. Become great friends with her over the years, and what a beautiful talent and what an awesome person, you know, to have on the record. It was a great collaboration. You know, before we ever made the song, you know, Round and I was looking for somebody, a female, to bring in that we would mesh well together, and that was the first song we did with her, and it was amazing, man. I absolutely loved it.
The Lord just sent her. We was like, man, we need a female. She said, oh. Yeah. I said, yes.
Yes.
You know, Worries Away, man, we wrote that for the kids. You know, we're both parents. And so, you know, coming back off the road, you know, Worries Away was about that, about filling the void, you know what I'm saying, spending time with the family members and the kids, and, you know, I mean.
Because people don't really realize what it's like being out on the road a lot of times and having to do what we do. You know, when you're out there, you're away from your families for a period of time. You know, it gets, you know, lonely being away from your kids, and you get kind of homesick. And when you come home, you get filled up, you know, especially being a parent and, you know, seeing them. And I mean, it just, you know, that's why we wrote that song, Worries Away. It's all about that. So.
It comes from long ago, taking in pictures of.
I love that song, man. That was another one that we did with our buddy Richard Myers, and we call him Red. And that song there was such a magical thing. Like, it was the first song we ever worked on in the studio with Red, and he's such a classic guitar player. And when we came together, man, it just had this feeling of almost like Leonard Skinner-esque style.
Real Southern rock.
Yeah, Southern rock undertones in that song, classic rock undertones in that song. And you know, me growing up on music like that, I mean, of course, that's going to come through in everything we do. And I just felt like we really captured that in that song. You know, it's got a very timeless, classic feel to it. And I am an old soul, you know, ever since an early age. I mean, I never really identified with a lot of people my own age. I was, you know, a lot of times I identified with people older than me, you know, growing up. And I just feel like a lot of times, like a lot of the feelings I have come from other places, you know, like it's like an influence from you know, a higher power. And you know, being an old soul is something that I think resonates with a lot of people. You know, feeling like you know, you're destined for something different than what you're going on, or along the path you're going on. And I think we capture that in that song really well.
This world will swallow you whole. This life can seem so cold.
I actually got the term. I was reading an article about a guy. He had got fake, you know, sentenced him. He got wrongfully sentenced, and he went to prison. And after all his appeals got denied, and you know, all of that, you know, he was like, man, I ain't going to sit in the belly of the beast and just rot away. And have that whole article, man, just that term, belly of the beast. I'm like, wow, that's such a deep, you know, word right there. And so we got to think. I was like, man, the world itself is kind of belly of the beast. You know, tries to eat you up every day, you know. And so to see that, to come into a record, take just that little, you know, thing of that sentence there and turn it to a whole song, man. It's you know, I really like it, man. Dig it.
No magic anymore. World's a music superstore. Where has all the realness gone down low?
I was watching an interview with Joe Walsh, and they asked him, they said, how do you feel about today's music? And literally he said, I feel like there isn't really any magic in the process anymore in creating the music. He said, back in my day, he said everybody would get together and you would jam, and you know, you'd make these recordings. He said nowadays it's more like a recipe. You know, people go into the studio and they use all this technology to piece everything together, and it's just, you know, it doesn't have the same feel of what it did in the, you know, 60s and 70s. And it struck a chord in me because, you know, being an artist today and currently, you know, there's a lot of truth to what he said, but then there's also the flip side of that. You know, I still feel like there's soul to put into the music regardless of what the process is. So no magic anymore is kind of a response to that. You know, it's like it's showing what he was saying, but in the same aspect it's saying, you know, there's still magic here. You know, it's all what you want it to be.
You know, it's so gritty. You know, you know, I mean, people just really draw to that right there. You know,
Plus, that track's unique because you've got two different sides of culture coming together on the track. We did that song with the Tones from New York, and he did the theme song to the Justified TV show. He was in a group called Gangster Grass, and he had hit us up, and we worked on that with him, and it just came together great. It was a great, you know, showcase of different styles there all in one track, you know. And, great song.
Yeah, man. It's gritty, man. But it's almost like when stuff rides the line out there in in the world. You know what I'm saying? It seems like people really like it. Be like, damn, cause violent sells, and I ain't saying it's so much a violent track, but it's kind of like just very outlawish. You know what I'm saying? And people are out there to get wild and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I don't know
that.
how many times we get hit up, and people like, especially from like radio stations, well, we need the edited version of that. Well, in all of our music, there's really everything is it's just all in delivery. It makes them think that it's a certain way when everything is already edited.
I'm like, yeah, bub, you got the edited version already, man. So go ahead and crank it up one time.
Wear this life on our backs like a flannel on our shirt. In the holler, way back in the holler.
If I had to pick one song that your grandmother would probably like, it'd probably be The Holler, featuring Marty Brown, Grand Ole Opry alumni. That song's got a lot of bluegrass undertones to it. It's one of those timeless songs. It's a very upbeat song, and we've actually got Marty Brown, spitting some versage on there. So that's something that's unique of its own. To have somebody from the Grand Ole Opry on there rapping is something that I think everybody will enjoy.
Well, grandmamas. Remember Marty from back in the day? I think he was hitting it hard back in the '80s and '90s, man.
Toured with Hank Williams Jr. That's crazy. Kid Rock's a huge fan of Marty Brown. They got a good relationship. A good friend of ours, became such a good friend of ours, and we're proud to have him on the record,